Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
The biggest disease today is not leprosy or tuberculosis, but rather the feeling of being unwanted. So this is the quote given by the Mother Teresa. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Myself, Raghavendra Joshi, Associate Professor, Department of Mental Health Nursing, Sarvodaya College of Nursing, Bangalore, and also a moderator for today's webinar. Today, we are conducting a webinar on account of World Leprosy Day. World Leprosy Day is celebrated on January 30th every year, and in India on Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary. It is celebrated to raise public awareness of leprosy, also known as Hansen's disease. Today's our resource person is Father George Kannanthanam, Director, Sumanhalli Leprosy Rehabilitation Training Center, Bangalore. As there is limited capacity on Zoom, I request the participants who are unable to join on Zoom to join using the YouTube link which we have shared in the chat box. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. So at the end of them, I will bring them up to our resource person. Now, without delay, let's start. Now I call upon Professor Jolly Joseph, Vice Principal, Sarvodaya College of Nursing, to welcome the gathering. Over to Jolly, ma'am.
Thank you, Joshi. Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all on behalf of Sarvodaya College of Nursing, Bangalore. Today's webinar is organized as a part of World Leprosy Day. First of all, I offer a hearty welcome to our resource person, Reverend Father George Kannanthanam, Director, Sumanhalli Leprosy Rehabilitation Training Center. Father, we are proud to have you and we are extremely happy to welcome you for today's webinar. I extend a warm welcome to our respected Chairman, Sri V. Narayana Swami, and dear Managing Directors, Mr. George Thomas and Mr. Sunoj Matthew, who always support us in all the academic activities. I would like to sincerely welcome our dear Principal, Dr. Dinesh Selvam S., who has inspired and supported us in organizing today's webinar. I extend a hearty welcome to all the teaching faculty and students from various nursing institutions who are participating in the webinar. I also welcome the teaching, administrative, and technical staff of Sarvodaya Nursing Institution who have extended their support in organizing this webinar. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, our dearest principal, Dr. Dinesh Selvam S., is going to highlighting the theme of the day, and heartily welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Joshi. Good afternoon, everyone. I am very happy to see you all in another webinar session from Sarvodaya College of Nursing, with the greetings from our chairman, Sri Narayan Swami, and our managing directors, Mr. Sunoj and Mr. George. Myself, principal of Sarvodaya College of Nursing, would like to welcome the gathering once again. And today we have gathered here, and this webinar is being conducted on the account of World Leprosy Day. Usually, this is celebrated on the last Sunday of January, and this year it is the theme running on United for Dignity, where it battles for end stigma and the mental well-being of the leprosy patients and beat leprosy. So on this Leprosy Day, which is celebrated actually for the leprosy patients who have experienced leprosy, and we as nurses and all the nursing students who have joined in this webinar should be very much aware of the disease and should play a role in ending the stigma that is related to the leprosy and the discrimination that is prevailing against leprosy. And not only that, this World Leprosy Day is working on the mindset of raising awareness and among the society, and also to eradicate the mindset of the public or the society against discriminating the leprosy patients. And leprosy patients are also undergoing a lot of mental stress and agony, which the public and the other people are not aware of. So these all together has raised out the theme by World Health Organization, mainly concentrating for this year on giving a dignity for the leprosy patients and to take care of their mental well-being of the leprosy patients. So on this act of creating awareness to all the nursing students who have joined and many of the nursing staff and the other faculty from the other colleges of nursing and also students from nursing, I tell you that today is going to be a wonderful session. Why? Because we have with us Father George Kannanthanam, who is a very great person in the sense that he is having a vast experience in field related to the rehabilitation measures. So this day will sure is going to create you, or Father George is going to enlighten you about the various rehabilitation measures that is involved in taking care of the leprosy patients and how society can contribute, because his extensive experience is going to really help us to know the various rehabilitative projects on himself as the team leader. Actually, Father has joined with his team for this webinar, is going to explain how well and how much extensive rehabilitative measures they are doing for the leprosy patients. We are actually, I have to say that we all are really blessed, Father George, to have you here on this day with us. We are really also delighted and excited to listen your contribution to the people of leprosy. And I really am so thankful, and we feel blessed for joining us and blessing all this nursing faculty with your vast experience. Without much time, I hand over to Joshi, where he will start with the other scientific session of this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dinesh sir. Now heartily welcome Father George Kannanthanam to take over the session.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm very glad to be doing this program for Sarvodaya College. Sarva Udaya means, I think, development and growth of everyone. And I think that was the ideal of Gandhiji. So yesterday being Martyrs' Day, and we are remembering very specially the great Mahatma of our country. I think your very name suggests that the ideals for which Gandhiji lived and worked, and he had the dream that only if we can bring development right into the grassroots where the people are, and only by lifting up every village in the country can we actually have development for the whole country. So he had this ideal of Sarva Udaya, as a kind of a ideal goal for him in his life. So I'm very glad I'm addressing students from the Sarvodaya College. I hope you also would be really imbibing some of those ideals of Gandhiji as well in your life. And Gandhiji was someone who also worked to give dignity to the leprosy affected people. He has shown us by his own personal example of taking care of leprosy affected people in one of the ashrams, that leprosy affected people are not to be kept away from the society. If you look at history, the way that humanity has dealt with people affected by leprosy, it has mostly been by ostracizing them, keeping them away from the society. So that's why we had the islands which were specially designated for dumping these people. And maybe some of you would have heard about stories of one Father Damien, who went to one of those islands called Molokai, and then worked among the leprosy affected people there. So historically, we as humanity have failed actually to give dignity to the leprosy affected people, mostly because of the fact that we didn't have a medical solution to it. It was only as late as 1945 we had the monotherapy, by inventing dapsone and using that for the treatment of leprosy affected people, which was not really a great cure for leprosy. It was only in 1982 that we introduced MDT, the multi-drug therapy, and that, of course, today is able to cure leprosy affected people 100%. So only because we have a medical treatment today, we, of course, can think of integrating the leprosy affected into the society. Otherwise, because of the contagious nature of the disease and not having a treatment, it was very difficult for us to really integrate them. So now probably we are in a much better time in history where we have medical answers, and so integration must be the very strategy that we should evolve to deal with leprosy affected people. And that is why this year WHO has come out with this theme of United for Dignity. So all of us, the medical fraternity, the NGOs like Subanaly, and the government department, and also at the global level, WHO and Sasakawa Foundation, which is giving out medications for the whole world for treatment. And so various other organizations, we all have to be united for bringing dignity to the leprosy affected people. I think that is the whole ideal. I just would like to share with you one of the stories of how the leprosy affected people have been, getting mainstream today and given dignity. We had a case of a lady who was admitted to our center a few years ago, and her daughter, who was just into the 6th standard when she came to the Subanaly Society, we educated her, we helped her to complete her graduation. Now she has gone on to get a work in the TCS company, and just 2 years she has been working there. She is earning well. She came here last week, and she has taken to Calcutta her mother, who had the disabilities that were experienced because of leprosy, and also her grandmother. And she said, I am okay today, and I would like to take care of my leprosy affected mother, though she is an unmarried girl herself. But her attitude that, well, I don't want to leave my leprosy affected mother in an institution, but rather I would take her back with me and take care of her. Well, this is what we really see in giving dignity to them, allowing them to be mainstreamed, allowing them to live just like anybody else, giving them meaning in their life. So this is what giving dignity to them means. Before I go into the rehabilitation program of leprosy, maybe it is nice for you to understand what is leprosy. And you all being nursing students, it would be good for you to understand the medical aspects. Also, what is the treatment for leprosy? All those aspects, I would now request Dr. Adityanathan, who is our senior staff here, working in leprosy field for last 35 years. So Dr. Adityanathan will present you about the medical aspects of leprosy. And then after that, we would look at the other rehabilitation and the social aspects of leprosy. So Adityanathan has been part of our team, specialized in leprosy, and Dr. Adityanathan would, through using these slides, present you about the medical aspects of leprosy. Over to you, Dr. Adityanathan. Adi?
Hello.
Yeah, so we would now have this presentation by Mr. Adityanathan. He's our staff member here. He's just coming over. 1 second. So if you have any technical questions that you would like to actually, cover about leprosy and know about leprosy, you could ask it to Mr. Adityanathan.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. The slides are visible, right, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, sir.
So we'll start the subject, no?
Yeah.
Straight
Yes,
away. And thank you very much for ordering this program today, a special day. In spite of yesterday, where we are ourselves conducted a nice program in our center today with the government collaboration. So leprosy, we'll go straight away to the subject. I don't want to waste my time, your time. Leprosy. Leprosy is a chronic infectious disease caused by Mycobacterium leprae. It's a bacteria which causes leprosy. Next. The causative organism Mycobacterium leprae. This is how we can see a bacteria under microscope. So it was invented in the year 1873 by Dr. Hansen, a Norwegian physician. Next slide. Cardinal signs of leprosy: hypopigmented or hyperpigmented anesthetic patch anywhere in the body, twinkling and tender nerves, peripheral nerves, and skin smear positive. Now we are not worrying about the skin smear positive. When these two are present in a patient, any hypopigmented, hyperpigmented or hypopigmented patch with the loss of sensation, we can refer to their doctor. Next. Any person with discoloration means any color change or now thickening or shiny or oily skin, they can be referred to a doctor. These are the starting signs of leprosy. Next. Next, stigma about leprosy. Many people think it is hereditary or due to sin or due to bad character of the individual person, or it is caused from God, or it is caused from the previous birth. So leprosy is not hereditary. It is not due to sin, or it is not due to bad character, or it is not caused from God. It is because of the bacteria called Mycobacterium leprae. Who gets leprosy? So the main nerves affected in leprosy, you can see in the picture. These are the common nerves affected by leprosy, peripheral nerves. Facial nerve, median nerve, ulnar nerve, radial nerve, lateral popliteal nerve, posterior tibial nerve. These are the common nerves involved in leprosy. Next. Who gets leprosy? Who will get leprosy? The 9-banded armadillo For the research purpose, they injected the bacteria in the footpad of this animal, particular animal. So there we can see some development, but it is not sufficient to conclude only human beings are getting the disease. How leprosy spreads? Person to person. A highly infected person, when he sneezes or coughs, millions of bacteria will come out. So it is through air only, through airborne infection we used to call. The growth of this particular bacteria is very, very slow. It likes the coolest part of the body where the bacteria multiplies very fast. Signs and symptom of leprosy: a skin lesion with loss of sensation, that's anesthesia. Color will be, to be very simple, it is lighter than the normal skin or brighter than the skin color. So hypopigmented or hyperpigmented with loss of sensation. There are two types of leprosy: paucibacillary leprosy, that is non-infectious type. A leprosy patient, those who have very few bacteria in the body, they are called paucibacillary leprosy, that is non-infectious type. So you can see the picture, a single patch, this particular patch, there is no sensation in the particular patch, there is no air growth on particular patch, there is no sweat on the particular patch. So anywhere in the body, you can see on the face, knee joint. So any color, anywhere in the body. So up to 5 patches, it is no harm from this kind of patients. So non-infectious type. So treatment for this one is only 6 months of treatment. I will tell you what is the regime of treatment afterwards. Yeah, multibacillary leprosy. Multibacillary means a patient, those who have more number of bacteria in the body or large number of bacteria in the body, they are the person who spread the disease to others. So more than 6 patches anywhere in the body. You can see a well-defined patch. Sometimes it's a raised abrupt patch. Anywhere in the body. You can see multiple patches on the buttocks. So erythematous color, different shapes, different earlobes are thickened. You can see the earlobe is very, very thickened. Shiny appearance of the face. You can see some nodules. These are highly infectious type. The third one is neural leprosy. Now we are considering it as multibacillary. It is included in the multibacillary leprosy. No involvement of the skin, means there is no patches, but nerves are involved, thickened and tender like this. You can see a thickened nerve. So treatment for paucibacillary, the treatment is only 6 months. For adult dose, we are giving 600 mg of rifampicin once in a month and 100 mg dapsone daily. So you can see before and after treatments of some of the photos. It's called multi-drug therapy, MDT. For multi-MB cases, we are giving 1 year treatment, that is 600 mg rifampicin, 300 mg lamrin once in a month, daily 100 mg dapsone and 50 mg rifampicin, lamrin. This is for 12 months. So minimum of 6 months, maximum of 12 months. Leprosy is cured. It is curable. 100% is cured. This is a cure for leprosy. Disabilities and deformities in leprosy. This stigma attached to leprosy is because of this disabilities and deformities. The primary damage to the nerve is caused by the bacteria, but the second and tertiary damages are due to the negligence and carelessness of the patient. You can see inability to close the eyes, lack of thalamus. This condition is called lack of thalamus. They are unable to close the eyes. When the eyes is open, so there is in cornea will be affected. So one day they will become blind also. Lack of thalamus. So you can see the wrist of claw hands. See, claw hands. The muscles are wasted. Foot drop, inability to lift their foot. You can see some ulcers on the pressurized spot. So, if the patient is not taken regular and correct treatment, there is possibility of getting disabilities and deformities. So, it's not a question of only regular treatment, correct regime. So, they have to inspect their hands and feet daily so that they can avoid this kind of deformities. Early treatment and the early diagnosis, we can prevent disabilities and deformities in any patients. Next, care for deformities. See, Subanaly is here today. We are taking care after the cure, after treated for leprosy. Still, some patients will develop ulcers due to their negligence and all. So we will take care of these deformities. We refer them to Reconstructive Surgery or CS. So we can correct the hands like this. I'll show some of the photos, the before and after. See, before the treatment, left side claw hand. Now after the surgery, 90% development you can see. Just like a normal hand. Both here also same. Claw hand. After reconstructive surgery, it will become like that. So for this kind of patients, we are providing with microcellular rubber footwear to protect their feet. So foot drop can be corrected. So we have CBR, community-based rehabilitation, and IBR means institution-based rehabilitation. So Subanaly is very well versed in community-based rehabilitation, where we can take care of their psycho, social, medical, educational, economical rehabilitation in community-based rehabilitation. Our aim is to send them back to the community where they have to live a dignified life. That is what now WHO is telling for this year, but we are following from past 45 years. Next. Institution-based rehabilitation. A person who is, he don't want to be burdened to the family or neighbors, he will isolate himself, isolation. This kind of patient we are admitting here. The orphans, beggars, or care of footpath, affected by leprosy, we take care of them. And the third is rejected from their family members. So these are three kind of leprosy cured, affected person, cured persons we admitted in this category. Institution-based rehabilitation. We take care of everything, both medical and other issues of the particular person. IBR, institution-based rehabilitation. Our aim is not to keep them permanently, but slowly. If they are young, we send them to school. If they are adult, we give adult education or skill development trainings. We set some jobs outside. Many of our father will explain how many people are there benefited through different rehabilitation activity of Subanaly. So if you come across any leprosy patch or a skin patch with loss of sensation, as a nurses, please don't delay, refer them to a doctor. But don't jump into conclusion. Don't examine. Don't take a pin and prick till the blood comes. No, it's not correct. Refer them to a doctor. He will take care of everything. So the main thing is you have to accept them as a human being. That is more important. This is what Mahatma Gandhi says about the leprosy work and the leprosy patients. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we'll proceed to the Father George Kanathan. Sir, shall I share the screen, sir?
Yeah, so we have just seen the medical aspects of leprosy. Maybe from the rehabilitation point of view, and what exactly are being done in the in the Subanaly society as our work with them. I will try to explain using the slides. Okay. Right, so this is the emblem of the Subanaly society. As we can see, love, light, and life. These are the three things what we are trying to provide them. And basically, these are the things what they have lost in their life. As we know, when someone gets leprosy, they are very often thrown out from their own houses. So they lose their love. And they are in darkness because of the kind of segregation that they have to experience. And so, in fact, their whole life is affected. So that is why when we started Subanaly in 1977, we thought that these are the three things what these people are missing, and we would like to provide them that. That's why we have made love, light, and life as the three mottos of the Subanaly society. Why was Subanaly started? We had large number of people from the leprosy background on the road, and they were all getting, there was no way for them to survive in their life other than begging. So once you're affected by leprosy, most often what happens is either they have to get back, get away from their habitat in the society, or they have to go and commit suicide because there is no way they can live with dignity in their own place, because most of them are rejected by the family, by the society, and the only way for them to survive is to get lost in a place like city. And they come to Bangalore, they go to Chennai, they go to Hyderabad, and then they try to, make a living there. That is how these people survive. So these people who are on the road and arrested by the police because beggary is prohibited, they are all kept in the leprosy colony. And the normal beggars who are, in the beggars colony, they protested saying that they cannot keep leprosy affected beggars along with them. So what they did was that they protested, and so the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Sri Devarajaras, at that time, requested the Archbishop of Bangalore whether we can start a center for taking care of these people. And the letter clearly said it may be difficult for a government organization to provide this, as a task of mercy are not generally effectively done by a bureaucratic system. They knew that it's probably the Christian missionaries who can provide the kind of care they require, and that's why they wrote to us. And so the Archbishop was open to this idea, and that is how part of the beggars colony land was given on lease to the Subanaly Society, and we started this program in 1977. Next slide, please. So the management of Subanaly Society is, done by various religious groups working under the Archdiocese, and the Archbishop is the chairman, and managed by the director and team here at the local level. So currently, myself is the director of the society. Next slide, please. So 63 acres of land were leased by government of Karnataka for Subanaly, and then we are on the Magadi Road. I think our society is close by to your place. So we are here not only now restricted to leprosy, but we are also now working for HIV and AIDS, and also other destitute persons and their families. So all these are also part of the work that we are presently doing. Our target group taking care of leprosy primarily. Next slide, please. HIV and AIDS affected people. Why HIV affected people is basically because leprosy is also a similar medical, social, economic problem, wherein we see the same kind of segregation, alienation, and people affected by HIV are also thrown out of the society, and that's why we have, we thought we should also reach out to them. And so the campus now has programs connected to leprosy, HIV, and also disabilities. So leprosy affected persons, we have about 120 of them in the campus now. Many of them are young people who come here for treatment. And then you have the very old people who cannot be rehabilitated, so they stay here till they die. Middle-aged people, most of them, after they come here, we put them back to the society, with various training programs. So we'll come to that. So the campus has about 120 of them who are living here. Next slide will show you about the support project, which is meant for the HIV affected people. We have about 20 of them here. These are also people who are thrown out from the society, and they have no way to survive. And so we are providing them residential care. And here also we try to get them the kind of rehabilitation possibilities for them as well. Next slide, please. So next slide shows you about Anigreha Project, which is an orphanage we started for people from the background of leprosy and HIV, because they find it very difficult to stay with their parents. And so we want them to have a regular education provided to them. So we started this program, and about 30 children from this background accommodated here. In the campus, we also have people with disabilities. We have people with polio. We have people with Charcot-Marie syndrome. We have people, who are with various disabilities who cannot manage in their houses, and so we also welcome them here. We also have a program called VOSCO, which is taking care of children who are the runaway boys. As we know, when they find it difficult to live in the villages, these boys run away to the cities, and when they come to the city, they don't know what to do. So we try to get them as soon as they come to the city, and then we have a center to take care of them. We also have a project called ECHO, which is for juvenile delinquents. As we know, children who are getting into some sort of a conflict with law, with any legal issues, caught by the police, and they need guidance and they need rehabilitation. We all have started also a program for them. So these are the different projects we have in the campus. Next slide will talk to you about the activities what we are having in order to rehabilitate them. So we have the survey education treatment program, which was under the National Leprosy Eradication Program. NLEP was the national program to deal with leprosy. So National Leprosy Eradication Program, NLEP. So under that, one program was called Survey Education and Treatment, through which we go to the community, we survey people, physically examine them, and try to see if there are any cases of leprosy. And then we also educate the community in order to identify people with leprosy. As Dr. Adishana was telling you, how do you recognize someone with leprosy? And then we treat them. So leprosy is curable at any stage. Just a 6-month or 1 year maximum of medication is enough to cure them. And therefore, everybody has to be treated and they can be made well, preferably before they get into any kind of disability. That is the whole idea of identifying them earlier. Then you have various advocacy programs for them. You have capacity building activities. For example, advocacy with the government. We have fought with the government for many years to create some reservation for leprosy cured people to get into government jobs. After many years of our intervention, advocacy work, now we have a certain reservation that is created, and we have about 500 leprosy cured people working in various government departments. So you go to any hospital in Karnataka, you will find leprosy cured people working with them. And they join as class 4 employees, and they get promotion. And once they get a government job, you know what all kind of advantages they have. So they are able to get dignity, they get money, even healthy people come forward to marry them. So getting them a government job is probably one of the best that we can do to rehabilitate these people. So following up on home-based care, formal, non-formal education being given to them. We have a school in the campus, and which is providing the formal education. Rehabilitation activities, helping them back to the society through vocational training programs, through housing, job placement and marriages, and outreach activities and residential care. So these are all the different strategies through which we are able to provide what is required for these people. So from next slide onwards, as you can move on to the next slide, this is explaining about each of these activities in a little more broader way. So we have the survey and educate, survey and awareness program, which we have done for about 98 lakh people, covering practically the whole of Bangalore city. And then we have the treatment done to them. As we know, once the medical part in terms of giving them the 6 months treatment regimen, many of them also develop ulcers, and ulcer care is a major service that the institutional care has to take care of. Sometimes for years together, leprosy affected people have their ulcers, and so dressing these wounds is one major part of our intervention. So treatment we have provided for about 11,000 people in the last 45 years. We have mobile clinics that would go to the leprosy colonies. Leprosy colonies are where we have the settlements of leprosy affected people in the community. Many of them are houses built by us, and so they stay there, and we continue to provide the medical care. So regularly, our ambulance goes to these places and provide the medical care. Rehabilitation programs, back to the society with dignity. So we have people here in the center for whom we are trying to create a kind of a family atmosphere, because most of them have lost their families. And when they come here, we want them to feel as a family. So we have common meals, common prayer, we have common games, we have meetings together. So we create a kind of a family atmosphere, which is very important for them to live. Reconstructive surgery is the next one, as you can see in the slide. Many of them develop claw hands, they have drop fist. These are some of the symptoms you have seen of leprosy, and there are now corrections that can be done by operation. So before and after, you can find the changes that are there in the fingers of these people who are leprosy affected. Education is the next intervention that we do. You must remember that most of these leprosy affected people, as they come to the city, the children would be begging around along with their parents. It is those begging leprosy affected people that we bring to our society, bring to our center. But once they come here, we put all of them into the education program, and they are studying in a very good school. This is an English medium school. We have a computer lab, and we have all the other facilities, and so we are helping them to become part of the society as normal human beings. So about 12,000 people we have already educated. Vocational training programs, as you can see in the next slide, this is a garments manufacturing unit where we provide them opportunity to learn about how to work in the garments unit. So because once they go out from here, they should be able to get a job. So we have different vocational training programs that we do, as you can see in the next slide: garments manufacturing, leather manufacturing, knitting, paper cover making, bakery training, two-wheeler mechanism, traffic police assistance program, carpentry, candle making, welding. And so all these are various training programs available in the campus for leprosy cured and also disabled people. Job placement, as you can see in the slide, these are all people who go to the government job. Advocacy work done by our center has brought them, opportunity to work with the government, and they're all, doing so well, and they get good salary, and also all the normal benefits that a government salaried person would get. And so that becomes actually an ultimate rehabilitation program for us. You find the traffic police assistance program. This is mostly done for the, the ECHO and the Bosco centers, where we have young boys who are run away from their society, and we try to help them to get a job with the BBMB by making them traffic police assistants. So they, in fact, move from being a criminal into a police in this process. Next is housing program. As you can see in the slide, these are all houses that we build for leprosy cured people with the help from the Rajiv Gandhi Housing Corporation. These are literally people thrown out from the houses. Now they are getting a house in their own name. They all become owners of a house. So this is a huge change which is happening in their life, and we have been able to build about 900 plus houses. Next slide will show you about community marriages. This is a couple that came here, but the boy and girl have no family. So we actually try to identify prospective, people who could become partners for their life. And then we conduct the marriage here in the campus itself. The one standing near the girl is the former DGP of Karnataka, Ajay Kumar Singh. One on the left is Dr. Prasad, who has been helping us to organize many of these marriages. So we about 150 marriages plus we have done in the campus itself, and thus we help these people to be having a family of their own. Institutional care, as we have said earlier, we have about 100 of them in the campus. So for them, they require regular medical care and dressing of their wounds and other regular medical interventions is what we provide for them. Organizing events in order to ensure that leprosy, HIV, disabilities, people are mainstreamed. And we also try to create leadership among them. So we get their leaders, we train them, we organize programs with them. And so over a period of time, they would be able to fight for their own rights. Now it is humanly fighting for them, but actually they should get organized and fight for their own rights. That is the best way actually for us to provide long-term, sustainable, independent living for them. Staff of Subanaly, we have quite a few staff here, more than 50 of them. We have medical team, rehabilitation team, training team, job placement team, education team, then of course administrative staff. People living in the campus, as we have seen earlier, we have people with leprosy, people with HIV, the differently able are here. Next slide. We have people from the orphanage, juvenile delinquents and street boys. So totally about 365 people are living in the campus on a regular basis. During the day, we are about 800 people because we have about 300 students in the school. And then we also have the vocational training programs in which large number of them, come to the city. So if you look at what we have done for last 45 years from the beginning, we would have covered about 6 million people for our awareness program. We have done survey for about 4 million people. And then case detected and treated about 5,000, care after cure for about 5,000, about 6,000 people. Care of the arrested leprosy biggest on the road, about 400 of them. Vocational training programs, education for about 12,000 people, surgical medical rehabilitation, job placement, community marriages, house construction, aids and appliances, providing them with ID cards, travel passes, pensions, about 17,000 of them. resettlement as families, and medical help. So these are the interventions we have done in the last 45 years to help them to have a dignified life. I don't know whether some of you have come to the campus. Maybe you have already seen now campus with buildings. This is one block where most of the leprosy affected are staying. The second building, the next slide, you can see this is a Chive Center inauguration done by the governor of Karnataka a few years ago. Next slide. And this is where the HIV affected people are living. So the inauguration of HIV Center by the governor of Karnataka, Chaturvedi at the time, and so we have about 30 of them are able to stay there. The building you're seeing now is where I am sitting now. This is our office and our training center where we operate from. The next is our school building, which you have seen already. Then the next one is our vocational training center, where we have the garments manufacturing unit. The next slide will show you that this is a campus of 45 acres where we have the different projects spread across the campus, where we have tried to use the whole land given on lease by the government. Referral resource centers. Referral and resource center. Also, we are a referral center for a lot of leprosy affected patients from across the country, mainly from South India, and also a resource center for leprosy training. So we also have the next slide. You will see that we have large number of students. Next slide, please. Where we have large number of students come to the campus, both medical and non-medical, social workers, police personnel. They come to the campus and they get trained on, working with various groups of people. The next slide will show you about the state award that Subanaly got in 2007 as the best organization in the country. In fact, this morning, the state government has given us an award for being the best organization working for leprosy. And then we have various state awards. Next slide. State awards for our Working Road and Rajyotsava Award and Kuombo Award and all that. And 2007, the next slide, please. We got an award from the Government of India for best employer of people with disabilities and leprosy working in our center. So that is an award from the President of India, Abdul Kalam, as he was there. And then we have national awards that was won by various people connected to the society, best employee, best placement officer. So nationally, on December 3rd, which is International Day for Disabilities, these awards are normally given. So next slide will show you that we are working with various national programs like NLEP, Pulse Polio Program, National Blindness Control Program, RNDCP program, and also the programs related to the NACO. So we work with various government medical programs in order to ensure that community has a better health. Next slide. We also engage with the training people from all over the world. These are people from the University of Ireland, a group of people who were here a few years ago. Next, we will find from University of Singapore. These are students who spent a few weeks here for training. Next is Einstein University in the US. And then, the next slide will show you what the various global partners we have in our programs from various places. Some of them are supporting us in our work. Some of them send training people. Some of them are also people with whom we have, relationship in terms of fundraising and resource mobilization. Next slide. So Subanaly is a globally recognized NGO for working with the destitute people, especially leprosy affected, for training and volunteer work. And this is what our center is doing. So the last slide is about you're invited to give compassion. But I think the ground rule is that we have to provide them compassion and care. You cannot do this work if you don't have compassion in your heart, because you will run out of your whole, interest to work if you don't really feel for them and feel that these leprosy affected people are actually part of your life. And that is why all our staff, most of them, are committed people who would spend their lifetime working for leprosy. In fact, this morning we honored two people who were with us for many years, one Jose and Mr. Boraya, who spent 40 years, 45 years of their lifetime working with leprosy, which is not an easy thing to do. So I think today is also a day for us to recognize the wonderful work that would be done by committed staff and committed people. The last slide is join hands to eradicate leprosy and rehabilitate the affected people. That is the last slide we have today. And we are talking about Together for Dignity. So this Together for Dignity can happen only when people like you from the medical, fraternity, the nurses, the doctors, the caregivers, social workers, and the public at large, all of us come together and hold our hands together and work together. That is when we can give them dignity. So the last slide will give you the contact details of the Subanaly Society. And if some of you would like to visit Subanaly, you're most welcome. We are on the Magadi Road, Ring Road Cross. Because of COVID, you're not able to come here. Otherwise, I'm sure you would have come here and we could have directly interacted. Anyway, whenever you have an opportunity, you're most welcome to come and visit our center and spend time with our people. They will be very happy to see you and interact with you. Okay, so this being a program of the Anti-Leprosy Day, I look forward to all of you. Whenever you get an opportunity to work in this field, please come forward and provide your care, your compassion and love to them. And these people are extremely grateful for whatever we do for them. So thanks very much.
Thank you for George, sir.
You're on mute.
Yeah. Thank you, George Kanathan, sir. It was an enlightening speech. I think with the organization, such an Subanaly organizations work and their compassion, I think soon we will be having a eradication of leprosy day in the world. Really, it was an enlightening speech, sir. Thank you so much for being with us and also for today's webinar. We have really highlighted about the Subanaly organization and how they're taking care of the leprosy patients and also about the treatment facilities. Now we will go ahead and take some of the few questions which is posted by our audience. First, I would like to ask the question, is there any relapse after a person completely recovered from the leprosy? So the question was asked by Vijay Lakshmi. If I repeat that, is there any relapse after a person completely recovered from the leprosy?
Relapse cases are very rare with leprosy, very rare. So once it is cured and the medication is taken, the relapse cases are very less. Only problem with leprosy is that we come across the leprosy cases mostly after the disability sets in. And because of this factor, lifelong, they have to live with the signs of leprosy. So actually they are free from the bacteria, which can be cured within a short period of time, 6 months to 1 year. But the disabilities, once it sets in, once you lose your fingers, you lose your hands, they remain with you forever. So people associate these disabilities as leprosy. It's actually not leprosy. These are the lifelong signs that remain with you because of disability caused by the bacteria. But the bacteria itself can be completely cured with the treatment, and it is not normally a recurring disease.
Okay, thank you, sir. And one more question from the Stephen. He's asking, will it infect us if we are constantly in contact with the person with leprosy?
No. How do you get leprosy? Mr. Adi, you would like to?
Yeah. See, I am working in this field for the past 45 years. I have not taken any medicine or because there is no vaccination. I have not taken vaccination, but still I am healthy because my immune system is good. My resistance power is good. It's a immunological disease. Actually, they are telling if your immune system is imbalanced or your resistance power is less, anybody can have the chance of getting the infection. Same thing, you asked something about the relapse. Out of 1 in 10,000 cases, we used to get relapse. Nowadays, that is also a big question mark. They're telling reinfection. They're calling it as a reinfection, not relapse. So, in our experience, we have not come across any relapse cases in Subanaly. When it is managed well, when the patient is very cooperative, when you enlighten the patient with the correct regime of treatment and give him good awareness about how to take the treatment, 100% we can avoid relapse.
Thank you, Adination sir. There's one more question. Why leprosy is called as the living dead? The question is asked by Jyotika.
Can you say that question again once more?
Why leprosy is called the living dead?
I don't think it's called like that. I think it is maybe the person's own understanding of leprosy. Maybe it's because of the fact that many of them, because of the kind of social discrimination they have to face, and they are thrown out of often the society. Many of them do have very visible signs of leprosy. So because of many of these factors, maybe they are thinking they are living dead. But I tell you, you come to a leprosy center like Subanaly, you will see how they celebrate life. I tell you, I play every day evening. I play football with these boys. Okay, we eat, we have our food together. You should have come and seen how we danced the whole of New Year night. And you are saying that we are living dead? Sorry, I don't agree with you.
Jyotika, I think you can visit our Subanaly organization. Okay, fine. There is one more question from Ponung. Why do fingers fall off in leprosy?
Why? Repeat the question, sir.
Why do fingers fall off in leprosy?
No, it's not the question of falling off. Actually, when the nervous system is fully affected, there is no sensation. We used to call it a glow and stalking anesthesia. Glow and stalking anesthesia. They can't feel the pain or hurt anything else. Okay. In spite of that, they want to do hard work. That fingers will get infected. Okay, there is wasting of muscles. So it's a day by day. If it is not taken care of, automatically, not only leprosy, when compared to diabetes, leprosy is far better. When small ulcer comes for the diabetic patients, they are once for all, they are removing a particular finger. Here it is not falling on its own. It is the deformities and disabilities are due to the negligence of the patient first, carelessness of patient, or purely say innocence of the patient. They don't know what will happen next. So that is how it is not falling by itself.
Okay, sir. Thank you. There is one more question from Soumya. If patients have symptoms of leprosy, is it needed the complete isolation?
No, not at all. They have to live with the community. We have treated more than 5,000 patients. We are not admitted not even 2% of the patients we admitted for complications also. They have to live. It has to be treated just like any other disease. That is the thing we are telling. It is integrated already into general health system. It means we have to treat just like any other disease. It is better than corona. It is better than cancer. It is better than diabetes and hypertension.
Yeah, rightly. Anything about a mental aspect of the leprosy patients? We want to hear something.
Yeah,
about.
Father is specialized in that one. Father will tell more about the psychological problem of it.
Yeah, any special counseling you give to the leprosy patients? Yes. How you compensate their mental mechanism, Father?
Individual counseling, group counseling, and family counseling. It's a regular activity.
Okay.
The rehabilitation starts when you want to pronounce that that particular person is affected by leprosy, or else you will go to any extreme step. All of a sudden, you are checking somebody and telling you have leprosy means, will you think that they will agree for that diagnosis? No, not at all. They will think of, straight away they will think of disabilities and deformities, ugliness and all. They will go to any extent. So before treatment itself, once the doctor concluded, diagnosed it's a case of leprosy, he has to give counseling first, before treatment, during treatment, after treatment. Father will tell more about the psychological aspect.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that, you're one day all right, and tomorrow you're saying that you are entering into a situation where you just cannot live a normal life. Well, this is psychologically, very, very much a situation for anyone to handle. So therefore, they go through a lot of struggles in life. Many of them are, even in real cases, we have seen many of them committing suicide. Many of them just leave the family and run away. They don't want the family even to know that they got leprosy. And imagine a trauma of someone who is chased out from their own house, even sometimes by their own spouse, sometimes by their own children, sometimes by their own parents. We had even case of a 8-year-old boy from North Karnataka who was just, driven on a lorry from their village, and they came to Bangalore and just left in one of the roads, and the father went away. So, what would be the the state of mind of a boy like that? So that is why we try to create a good family atmosphere here. You lost your family, don't worry. We are the family for you. So we have a lot of recreational programs, a lot of prayer programs. We have a lot of activities for the recreation. So we try to keep their mind occupied and tell them that leprosy is normal and you still have a future. You still can remake your life. And so education, rehabilitation, all that gives them the confidence that I can still lead a normal life like anyone else. Of course, it's a long drawn battle of life, and they require accompaniment for many years. So it needs a lot of input from our side, and it is working well with many of our people.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Father. The entire session was very enlightening. And from Sarvodaya group of nursing institutions, we wholeheartedly congratulate for all the recognitions you have got in your service, and all the applause what you have got for your continuous service with the Leprosy Rehabilitation Center. We are, once again, I have to say that we are very blessed to have this session. A lot of thanks and wishes from Sarvodaya group of institutions. Now I hand over to Joshi to end the session.
So I would like to express our gratitude to Father George Kannanathan sir and the Adisanathan Sadip sir. It was a really great session regarding leprosy and the Subanaly organization divine work. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here, and also thanks again for joining us today. And we will see you definitely next time. And today's webinar e-certificates will be emailed to participant. We have submitted the Google form, and the link to the Google form, that is feedback form, which is mentioned in the chat box, you can fill and submit it at the earliest. And also you can watch this session on our YouTube channel, Sarvodaya College of Nursing, at any time. And do not forget to subscribe our college channel, as well as share our the webinar. Thank you once again, Father George Kannanathan, and thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.